Hey, it's Jess. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with another Way Back Wednesday where I will be talking about all the books that I read in May of 2023. Looking at my story graph, I read a total of 7 books that month. All of them were new, none of them were rereads. The first book I finished in May was Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. This is the, you can't really see it. My lights are having fun today. This is the second book in the Legendborn cycle. So you are continuing to follow Bree Matthews. This is her right here. I don't want to talk a lot about this book because it is a sequel. It does pick up fairly close to the end of Legendborn, if nothing else, like a few weeks, maybe a couple months, not very long. You're still following Bree. This book series has to do with Arthurian legends, black girl magic, blood magic, root magic, racism, secret societies on a college campus. It is a great, it's considered young adult fantasy, but that's because Bree is 16. So I have discovered recently, like in my readings, that books are considered young adult based, books are considered like, they're not genre, I don't know, whatever that's called. Like adult, young adult, middle grade, whatever. Mostly based on what age the characters in the books are. And so since these characters are anywhere between 16 and I think 19 is the oldest, like main character, that's why it's considered young adult. This, not a young adult book. I mean, it is, but it is such a complex magic system. There is so much character development, personal relationship dynamics, friendships. It's so complex, and it does not read like what people my age, who, yes, I am older, so it's not what people used to think young adult was. Even if you don't read young adult books typically, I highly suggest you check these books out. They are so good. I really enjoyed them. I did not like Bloodmarked as much as I liked Legendborn, which is the first one, but still a great continuation of the story. The next book I finished was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is the beginning of, when I started reading it, I thought was just a trilogy, but now there's 6, possibly 7 books in this series. And you are following Darrow. He is a miner on Mars and is what's called a Red. There are class systems in this society based on colors. And basically something happens and Darrow infiltrates the Golds, which are the highest class that you can get. It is very much, a lot of people say that this first book is very much like Hunger Games. It reminds me a lot of Ender's Game and Hunger Games, but like, I don't know. It's kind of a combination. It's like Hunger Games in space, but there's also a lot of it reminded me of Ender's Game, which I read a gajillion years ago. I really liked this one. I read the next 2 in the series. I have not started the second half of the series, so I've only read the the original trilogy. If you're looking for something sci-fi, it's a little bit different. I suggest you check this one out. Just a heads up that for me, the audiobook was harder to get into, but when I sat down and read it, I read it really quickly. The next book I finished was Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valenti. I have it written right here, so I had to check. This is a short novella. I don't really want to tell you a lot about it because it's so short. I kind of already knew the twist in it because I had watched a video about it way before I actually read the book. So I knew what was going to happen at the end. But you are following a main character who has the perfect life. She has the perfect husband. It's very, very Stepford. And then her husband comes home and she's starting to, their marriage isn't as perfect as it was. Her life is, she's waking up and realizing that her life isn't as perfect as she has thought and been led to believe that it is. And so you kind of go through that story. I really, really liked this one. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it because it is such a short book and many people have read this book. So if you want to know more about it, like I watched Katie Colson's video about it, again, years and years and years ago. So you can go check that video out if you don't want to read this, but want to know kind of like about the twist and the underlying everything about it. But really, it's so short, just read it and then let me know, what did you think of it? The next book I read was A Dirty Job by Christopher Moore. This was recommended to me by one of my coworkers. I listened to this as an audiobook. Super funny. Really enjoyed this one. So very racist. I'm laughing, but like, because there's like a Russian character, a Chinese character, so many stereotypes. It's written in a way that like there's supposed to be hyperboles of these stereotypes, but just know going in that I listened to this and sometimes I was like, yee. Yep, you're not really supposed to say that. So this is about a man. I'm trying to remember. I really liked this book. It's a man who has to take over for death. Yes. And collect souls. That's why it's called A Dirty Job, because he has to like be the reaper. And a whole bunch of other stuff happens. There's ghosts in it. There's goblins. I don't know. There's a lot of characters. I don't know how to explain it. Let me just look up the synopsis. So much happens in this book, and I do really remember enjoying it. Why am I on IMDb? That's not going to tell me the synopsis of a book. I clicked the wrong app. So, Charlie Asher is a pretty normal guy with a normal life, married to a bright and pretty woman who actually loves him for his normalcy. They're even about to have their first child. Yes, Charlie's doing okay, until people start dropping dead around him, and everywhere he goes, a dark presence whispers to him from under the streets. That's right. Charlie Asher, it seems, has been recruited for a new position as Death. It's a dirty job, but hey, somebody's got to do it. Yes, that's what it is. There's like these spirits, souls that are trying to like take him over, basically, and escape from the other dimension. The audiobook was really good. Again, it was funny. I enjoyed the story. There are some racist parts. So just a heads up about that. But they're written in there to be a hyperbole and like really exaggerate the stereotypes of these, cultures. But I do want to give you a warning. And when I said that to my friend, I was like, well, there's some really racist parts in here. She's like, there is? Yeah, there is. And I don't know if maybe it was more noticeable because I was listening to it, so like I heard the accents instead of just reading the words on the page. I don't know. But again, just a heads up about that. The next book I read was Butts, A Backstory by Heather Radke. This is a nonfiction book about butts. I heard Emily Fox talk about it first, and so I got it from my library. It was really interesting. There's parts about like kind of the way that it's kind of about the way that society has changed its viewpoints. Like women weren't supposed to have big butts and now they do want big butts, and it talked all about like buns of steel and that whole movement. And there was a whole chapter on like clothing companies, and apparently all of these, there's a bunch of companies, like I can't remember any of them, but like Abercrombie, A&E, things like that. Not A&E, that's a video TV channel. American Eagle, AE. Hollister. I don't know if those are the companies, but anyway, all of their jeans are modeled after one specific girl. She was like, I think she was with her friend at like a model shoot. Like her friend was the model, and this guy saw her and was like, you have the perfect proportions. And so all the jeans are modeled off her proportions, which she will not tell anyone because she wants to keep it a secret. And I don't remember her name now, but I just thought that was really interesting. And I don't know, it was just a funny, different, interesting nonfiction book. So if you're looking to get into nonfiction but want something not super serious, but you can learn something from, check this one out. The next book I finished was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is a cozy fantasy. I feel like it's a lot of people have read this book. There is a sequel, which is actually a prequel called Bookshops and Bone Dust. I haven't read that one. Legends and Lattes. You are following an orc. She is a retired warrior who moves to this town and opens up a coffee shop. And no one in this town has even heard of coffee. They don't know what it is at all. She collects various people to work in her shop with her. And of course, there's going to be some drama, but it's very low stakes, very cozy fantasy. Just super cute. So if you're trying to maybe get into fantasy, but you don't want high fantasy, but maybe you want like non-human characters, you can check this one out. Again, a lot of people have really liked this. The third book in this series, I don't remember what it's called, is supposed to come out, I believe, later this year. But again, I haven't even read the sequel. I'm pretty sure it's Bookshops and Bone Dust. It's Books and Bone Dust. I can't remember if it's Bookshops. Anyway. I haven't read that one, but I did really, really like Legends and Lattes, and it was just super cozy and made me want to drink coffee all day long. The last book I read was The Drift by C.J. Tudor. This is one that I just happened to see at my library kiosk and picked it up. It is a horror book. It was kind of weird reading this in May, because where I live, May is fairly warm. This all takes place like in a snowy area in a snowstorm. So you're following 3 sets of people, and basically like you're following 3 sets of people that are in several different life-threatening situations. One of them's in a train accident. One of them is in like not a monorail lift, like a gondola lift. It's like a ski lift, but it's a big, it's not a sitting. You stand in it and you go up the mountain in the snow. I don't know what it's called. If I do know what it's called, my brain's not thinking of it right now. And then one of them is at this like remote tower, and people are dying. There's creatures. There's like an infection. It has to do with the snow. It all comes together in the end. I really liked this one. I know that other people have not enjoyed this one, partially because they feel like there's too many point of views. It was hard to keep all the characters straight. And yes, there was a couple of characters I remember that had almost the same name. So then I was like, oh wait, which one am I reading right now? But I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was, again, it was a good way to end the month, even though it was a little strange because it was set in a snowy environment. The whole book is like all 3 parts are set in the snow, and it was May, but I read it really quickly. I thought that parts of it were very creepy. I love a creature feature book, movie, whatever. So overall, I enjoyed this one. And those are all the books that I read in May of 2023. I enjoyed everything that I read this month. I don't think any of these were a 5-star for me. I don't look at this like list and be like, oh yeah, that was a 5-star. But all of them were at least a 4. I really, really enjoyed them. It was a good mix, young adult, nonfiction, horror, fantasy. I really enjoyed this one. I want to know, have you read any of these books? What did you think? All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.